Hi everyone, it's Nicole and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing another entry in my February Cocoa Daisy Traveler's Notebook. Today I am using these papers. They are actually papers that are not included in the Traveler's Notebook this month. The What I Like About You is one of the additional Traveler's Notebook sized papers, and then the one on the right is an actual paper that's included in the kit. And today I'm going to be documenting what I like about you using that prompt on the left page, and documenting a photo of my husband and I that we recently took together on an afternoon out with a bunch of friends. This is probably one of my favorite photos of my husband and I recently, so I chose this one, but you could use any picture that you have to document. It doesn't have to be necessarily recent or not. That's one of the things I love about the prompts from Cocoa Daisy is you can document any time with them, not just the current. So in the kit there were these two tags. One is a pale pink and the other one is a turquoise type color, and I'm going to be using both of them, and I'm going to use them as journaling spots, and I'm going to layer them here just like this on the side, and create kind of a cluster of journaling and some embellishments. I'm not really going to use the background, so to speak, of that paper to do my journaling on. I wanted it just to be the paper itself, I guess you could say. So I'm going to layer up these tags, overlap them, and then trim the strings back so that once I punch these and put them in my disc bound notebook, these strings don't interfere with the turning or the binding of the pages in any way. So I'll get those trimmed back, got those glued down, trim them back, and then I am going to start doing the right side of my page. I bounce around a lot whenever I do, oh no, I'm sorry, I embellishment, but I do bounce around a lot when I do my pages because I do what I know that I want to do, and then I'll move on to the next thing, and sometimes it's left side, sometimes it's right side, but I do color blocking in this. I like the pens about this, and I thought because what I'm journaling it about, which is the What I Like About You for my husband, I thought that fit the story and fit the theme. So I do lay those out, and those will eventually end up there. Now, as far as what I wanted to do on the left side still, I didn't know, so I jumped over to the right. And this is where I was kind of missing another tag. I like doing things in threes. I kind of wish the kit came with a third tag, but it didn't, and that's totally okay because I have this stamp that was from, I think it was the February kit last year, or it was one of the months right around February, and it was a tag builder stamp set. So I pulled that out, grabbed some teal and pink inks, and I made my own tag that I am going to use as a layering piece for the right side, and that helps pull the tag elements from the left onto the right side, and love it. So I am going to go ahead and stamp the tag in teal, and then there's this heart cluster that was on that stamp set that I am going to use on the bottom. It isn't quite big enough to fill that in, so I stamp it once, and then I clean my stamp really, really well, and then I only ink up what I need to fill in the next piece of that gap. The paper that I'm using is just a page from the current notebook that I was blank dotted paper that I knew I really wasn't going to use, so I used that as paper so that everything kind of coordinates together. I'm going to trim that out, cut it down, and I am going to go into my stash, grab my hole punch, add my hole punch in there, and then add some of the same white twine that I used on the left side, just to put in that little extra something. And then that's my third element that I am going to use on this side to help bring that all together. I do end up layering it on top of the photo. I didn't like it behind. And then I thought this piece was a little off. I wanted this pink over here on this side. That way it brings the left again over to the right. So what I decided to do was to take it and actually make photo corners. So I am cutting 4 small triangles. I cut the first one, and then I use that as a template to cut the other 3. And then I am going to go ahead and use my tape runner adhesive And I will actually attach these to the back of my photo, and then it helps bring in that pink, but it doesn't take away from everything, and I think it's the perfect added pink. I didn't need this one here, but I wasn't thinking ahead far enough that that would be covered with that cluster, but I just did it anyways. So with this cluster, I had this 3x4 card pulled out from the pocket cards add-on that I get, and I love the typewriter with the heart on it. So I grabbed it and I wanted to fussy cut this out because I am going to add this into the cluster that I am going to create on the right hand side of my photo. It is the perfect piece of ephemera that I needed. And then whenever I was done, I saw that that back piece was black paper, and it worked perfect, and it would give my photo an extra pop of color. So instead of wasting the rest of that 3x4 card, I'm actually just going to go ahead and use it as a layering piece behind my photo, and it was perfect. Used my scrap, used up my card, nothing goes back into my stash, and it was perfect. So the typewriter, I am going to go ahead and layer over top of this tag, and this is where I'm going to start building this next embellishment cluster here on the bottom right. I do go ahead and tape everything down on this side. I'm getting to the cluster to the point where I know things are starting to go where I want it to go, so I'll go ahead and put that down. Now at this point, I don't know what else I want to do over there, so I'm jumping back over to the left. I'm going to go ahead and stick down the 2 pens, and then I also have these 2 hearts that I pulled out, and I will just go ahead and attach all of these, because like I said, this is where I know I want these to eventually land. My dog is barking. I'm so sorry. They're playing upstairs. Going back into the different pieces, there was this banner that I wanted to use and incorporate in. So I am actually going to go ahead and put that charmed label, tuck it in at the bottom of my photo, and incorporate that into this embellishment cluster. It helps bring the teal into the side of the page, and it also gives like that resting or that landing point for my photo to make it look like that it's grounded. And I love the way that that looks. There was this little birdie that was left in that ephemera pack, and instead of using it as a sticker, I'm going to pop it up on some puffy adhesive foam dot and put that there for another element. To bring in some more pink, I use these stickers that were included. They give journaling prompts on it, but I flipped it upside down just to use that label, just to bring in that pink. And then I'm going to use this half circle that says February and add that to the top. And I think that gives that just the perfect thing. I feel like that I wanted to use this picture perfect banner, but it was too big. But this smaller banner that says February memories or February moments was the perfect size. So I am going to add a small bow to it. And I am also going to pop it up on some foam adhesive. And I am going to incorporate this into the cluster on the right hand side of my page by that typewriter. And that's going to be really the last bit of embellishing that I'm going to do to this right side, with the exception of the glitter enamel dots, because I glitter enamel dot everything. But as far as the ephemera goes, that is going to be the last of it for this right side of the page. And I love how that little overlap looks. It's perfect. Those 2 pieces I had set out, didn't end up using them, but I did want to bring in another bird, but I wasn't sure which I wanted to use, so I was flicking through some things. I really didn't find a whole lot in this piece, so I went to the rub-ons, I believe it was, that came in the kit, and the, not that sheet of stickers, but the sheet that is behind it with the phrases on it. I do find a couple phrases here that worked perfectly with what the story was that I was telling, and I'm trying to find my notebook so that I can figure out what it says. I think that red one says, love this. Grab my notebook. So the red one says, loved this. This pink one that I'm adding now says, this photo warms my heart. And then there is a teal one that I will add to the bottom that says, a few of my favorite things. And that is what I'm journaling about. I use that prompt of the paper of what I like about you. And I do journal a few of the favorite things about my husband and I and our relationship. So these stickers work absolutely perfectly. Once those stickers are down, this is where I pull in some of the glitter enamel hearts. And then I also do add in some of the rub-ons. I felt that that top white space, since I wasn't using it to actually journal, was a little bit empty. So I was able to pull in this teal bird that looked like he was flying. And I thought it looked so cute, so I'm going to go ahead and put that there. And then I'm going to grab some of the hearts that are in this cluster. I don't use them all, and I just use bits and pieces of them to kind of make it look like the trail from the bird flying. And just to add a few more things, to that white space to help tie in with the hearts and the birds. And I think that looks perfect. So lastly is going to be these glitter hearts. I add some in clusters on the right hand side of my page, and I do quite a few over on the left. And then lastly, which I do off camera, is my journaling, because I wanted to really think, oh, I'm sorry, no, after this I do some stamping again. I totally forgot about the stamping. I wanted to do a little bit more stamping because I had this other stamp set out on the left hand side there. This was another stamp from last year, I believe it was. And there were some hearts on there I wanted to include because they were very small and I thought they tied together. But the XOXO from this month's stamp made it up there above my photo. I stamped that one in black ink, and then I'm going to add the date below the Charmed label. And that finishes off the right side. For this left side, like I said, there's these two hearts. This was from last year. I don't think that this was the February stamp. It may have been either January or March. It was right around the February though. But I wanted to do some color blocking with this little solid heart. So I grabbed my pink ink, did 3 heart stamps there, and then I do the same with the teal down towards the bottom, and then that finishes it off. I do add my journaling after everything, and you'll notice that I have little boxes drawn around 2 words. I actually made a boo-boo unconditionally. I spelled it wrong, but I fixed it by using a piece of white paper, but I drew a box around it, and then to make it look intentional, I did the same thing with 2 important words in the bottom box, and that made it not look like it was an accident and that it was intentional. So that is a way that you could fix a goof if you ever do some journaling. But that is it, you guys. Thanks so much for stopping by, and until next time, have a great day.